Today, and Rachel's been with me some time, so must have seen her name by now. She is not your average mama. She's got quite the story, and thank you, Rachel, for joining us.
Yeah, I'm so excited.
Yeah, I know. It's because, we're always talking about other things, and it's nice to kind of settle in and talk about you because, yeah, we met through your blogs and your blog page. You've got an excellent blog page and lots of people following you and your family. And yeah, I want to kind of let you have the floor to kind of tell us what you've been going through. I know that you're marching out of winter like the rest of us. But
Yes.
marching out of grief is kind of the topic as we've been focusing on mental health this month and things to overcome, certain ailments and depression and things that people are going through right now. So I know you've got the story on how you've kind of gone through all that, you and your husband, and yeah, you're a superstar. So
Oh, well, thank you. I appreciate that. I don't always feel like a superstar, but yeah, so I started my blog, 4 years ago now, as a way to connect with other grieving parents at the time. I found there wasn't a lot of outlets for it. There wasn't a lot of talk about losing a child, which I totally get because it's something, it shouldn't happen. Like, it's not natural. So I didn't want to fix anybody per se. I just wanted to let them know, hey, you're not alone. And I just shared my raw reality of losing my son in 2012 to an undiagnosed birth defect. And then I went on to have a third son, and then I had my older son, and just everyday life and living with it, and it making sure his memory stays alive. And he would be 9 this year, so I've spent
wow.
9 years talking about him.
Yeah, and it probably feels like yesterday. I can't imagine, what you went through. And so it was undiagnosed. How old was he? He was.
He was 4.5 months old. And yeah, you're absolutely right. Some days are harder than others. Some days I don't know how, like, the weight isn't so heavy, and then other days it's like it just happened again.
Mhm.
But yeah, so he was born on April 19th, 2012. Perfectly healthy baby, no problems. Couple baby well checks down the road, and they diagnosed him with a muscle defect. We did physical therapy, and turns out the physical therapy was a bad idea because he actually had a piece of cartilage on the outside of his vertebrae.
Oh,
So when we did physical therapy, the cartilage eventually moved and severed his central nervous system.
oh my gosh.
The
And you weren't
only
home, right? This was you were doing your thing. You had somebody babysitting at the time.
Yep, I ran a small shop 2 towns over. I was about an hour away from him when it happened at the babysitter's, and I actually beat the ambulance to the hospital
No
trying to.
doubt. No doubt. Yeah.
Um, so
Wow.
the only solace that I have in that day was that it was quickly, from what I understand.
Yeah.
So that's a little bit of solace, but it definitely is something difficult to live with. It's difficult to navigate a marriage through. It's
Mhm.
difficult to raise another child. My oldest was 2 at the time. So
Yeah.
trying to explain to a 2-year-old what just happened,
Mhm.
it's a
Mhm.
whole nother ball game.
Yeah. Did you guys take grief counseling afterwards, or what was kind of your doctor's recommendation for therapy? I know everybody's quick to take a pharmaceutical and kind of blank out and go that route, but what was kind of your best foot forward?
Yeah, so my husband did therapy, and through all of this, we really had to commit to understanding that we're going to grieve differently. I would get very angry because he wasn't grieving the way I was. And I
Mhm.
had to change that mindset that, hey, he's doing it in his own way, and that's okay.
Yeah.
So he did the therapy thing. I found I found a community. I found, Facebook groups. There's a local mom, as the world would have it, she lost her 2 children 2 weeks before I lost my baby.
Wow.
So me and her are still to this day very, very close, and actually have my youngest. She has a daughter the same age as my youngest. So it's kind of funny how the world works that way.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I found comfort in other people's same
in your
experience.
writing.
Which is why I started sharing mine. I started, you know, talking about it. And at first it was really uncomfortable because people don't know what to say. If, you know, they have no, and there's nothing you can say. And that's what I try to tell people who are like, hey, I know so-and-so who's had a miscarriage. What do I do?
Yeah.
Don't do anything. Just be there. Don't do anything.
I think you said it, and it's a good point for anybody experiencing anything, is that we all do go through it differently, and to be understanding of that is it's humbling and it's huge. You know, going through, you know, the loss of a friend, you know, I that was, to me, you know, that was pretty life changing. And you know, you still have emotions, and some of them are anger, and some of them are sadness, and they're kind of all over the place, and you can't predict when and where. So for to be understanding to your spouse and kind of the way he went through things, and you finding your community, I mean, kudos to the both of you to understand that that was going to be something that you had to really own for that time, and for the rest of your lives, right? So
yeah, for sure, because it comes out in different ways even to this day.
yeah.
You know, people expect, you know, with grief and the loss of anybody, they expect sadness and they expect depression, but what they don't expect is the anger. They don't expect the anxiety. They don't expect, you know, the urge to, like, I have an urge to be busy all the time, because if I'm busy, I'm not thinking. So I have to recognize that and be like, okay, you need to like stop, because you need to sit in it. Like, you can't run from it.
Yeah.
So it's like another really key part is like accepting that the grief is there and it's not going anywhere. It's never over. Like, it's always going to be there.
I love that you guys keep this memory alive for your other sons, especially at Christmas time. You know, when you were putting up the stocking over the years, and keeping that memory with this ornament. And so, you know, that's really special, because you know he is there, and he's in the home, and yeah, you're there for other moms. Look at your shirt too. I just noticed it, Mama 3. Love it.
Yes, I think that's probably my greatest, I don't want to say accomplishment, but one of the things I'm most proud of is my youngest, who was born 2.5 years after Brantley, talks about him like he's here, like he knows him, will tell you, you know, everything that we've ever told him about it. And to me, that's like, okay, you've met like a good milestone there, that your youngest acknowledges his brother that he's never met.
Yeah. Oh, that's amazing. I mean, at 2 years old, of course, too. That's yeah, that's kudos to you again. It's fantastic. So you've got this community, you've got these moms, and what are you writing about now? Because you know, obviously, you've got day-to-day stuff. So you're teaching the little ones at home through all this COVID and what's going on in your busy life. You're working with me. I don't know how you do it. So what's a day in the life of?
Yeah, so a little sneak peek. So, you know, I work, well, some people know I work a full-time job as well, and I work from home, thank you to COVID. I have both children. I have a 5th grader and a 1st grader at home with me as well, and we do remote schooling. I also help out with a nonprofit, and I work with Amy, and I write a blog. So again, back to being busy.
And she doesn't sleep.
I don't sleep. I don't need sleep. That's what coffee's for.
It's
No,
amazing.
little sneak peek. I'm currently working on one of those pivotal moments in motherhood where you don't realize it until it's happening to you.
Yeah.
And it's called crossing the aisle, because with my youngest, I just had to go from that toddler section to the boys section. And like, I was in Target in almost years, because I was like, he doesn't fit in these. So I'm kind of sharing that experience, and you know, I can relate to a lot of parents in that aspect of they're growing up. He's my last baby, and so,
I was just gonna say, is this the last one? So you were having that moment because you're not putting away clothes for hand-me-downs, right? Like,
yeah, he is the last one. So all of these are kind of final with him, and it's fun to share those moments. You know, I don't just write about grief and the hard things. I try to write about the funny things that make us laugh, and you know, just kind of a well-rounded mom blog.
Yeah, that's great. That, yeah, it is funny because we don't think about, and I read a book, or maybe it was a poem, about the last times that you do something with your child. And I looked at my son the other day and I thought, I don't remember the last time I picked him up. But
Yes.
whenever I did, I didn't know at that time it would have been the last time. And there's something to be said for that, because now there's no way he'd break my back.
Yes.
But it's just that turning point that we don't realize a lot of times when it's going to be the last. So it's great to share and write and capture those memories the way that you do, because hey, you got a story that you could, like, that was the last time that happened. But yeah, I think a lot of moms, especially because we're going out of the cusp of winter here, so we're buying spring clothes.
Yes, yes. I was actually on the search for, what was I on the search for? Pajamas, I believe, because he sprouted up another couple of inches, so all his pajamas are flood pants.
Love to skip a size, eh? You just didn't touch that one. We're just gonna go.
We're just gonna skip a size. It's fine. It's fine. Everything's
It'll be
fine.
nice when they're neck and neck, and then they can just share, right? It seems like a lot
Yes.
when the younger years. Four grades is like a lot. Grade 1 to grade 5 is a huge learning education gap. So when you're teaching at home, how do you kind of divide those two kind of educational learning, and does the little one want to catch up to the big one? How does
So
that go?
oddly enough, it's backwards at my house. So yeah, so he's really, really the academic. My oldest is the creative, and he needs all of this structure. It actually takes two adults. I am very blessed. My stepmom comes over during the week to help keep everything kind of moving. So I will
Yeah.
not claim to fame that I do it alone. I do not. I have help, and I am so grateful for it. Because when COVID started, everybody kind of remembers we weren't allowed to like see each other. So I
Mhm.
was alone, when we were trying to get through the end of the school year with two kids. And that I knew I couldn't do it again. So over the summer, we kind of formulated this plan, and it has been tremendously helpful.
That's awesome. It does take a village.
I
I
was gonna
always,
say
like,
same
I
thing.
never
It
wanted to
takes
be
a
those
village.
cliches, like, oh, they grow up so fast, and it takes a village, but it really does. And
Oh,
you let parents write in. This is part of taking a village. You're there for others in the forum. So just like you're getting the help, you're giving it back, and I think that that's
yeah.
how it all kind of goes, right? We take it where we need it, and we give it
Well,
back
and
where
I
we
want
can.
people to like be honest about needing help. Like I had to be honest about, all of us moms want to do it all and want to be,
Yeah.
super mom. And sometimes it's a harsh reality. And I think COVID taught us all a lot of that we can't. Like I am here to tell you, I take the help when I can get it, and I ask.
Totally. I said to a friend the other day, I had a lot of guilt asking for a help, because I was doing it like a super mom. It'd be like pouring rain and like 9 bags of groceries in my arms, and do you need a hand? No, I got this. Like, but then you just reach for the white flag at some point, and there's like just this like moment where it wasn't that hard,
Yeah.
but I did suffer some guilt with that, like I should be
Oh,
doing more, and this and that. And she said to me, you wouldn't be a mom if you didn't feel that mom guilt. And so we all do feel that, where we're not maybe feeling up to par, but we got to take our times too, and know when we need a hand. So it's great what you letting others write in. The forum's been going really well. We've had some great questions, even down to like cannabis. So what are your thoughts on pediatric cannabis? Because I know Virginia is a state where it's not legalized like it is here in Canada, and you guys are not very united for the states that you are. So there's some that are and some that aren't. So where do you stand on that? Because I know that there's somebody that wrote in about kind of what to do, and when it comes to CBD and medicinal.
yeah, so we're super fortunate to at least have access to the THC free, which in Virginia, at the very least, there aren't a whole lot of like regulations on it. As long as it doesn't have the THC and is under, a certain percentage, you're okay, and you can buy it retail at local places. I first started looking into it, which is how I met up with you. My oldest has epilepsy and was struggling with pharmaceuticals to control it. And,
Mhm.
I did my research. I'd heard that it helps. I've seen testimonials. And so I thought, all right, well, let's give this a try. And he's been on it for about 2 years now. He is 1 year seizure free
Ah, it's
last week, which
amazing.
is super exciting. So yeah, I'm on other pediatric epilepsy forums, and I preach about it. I try not to be too pushy, but I just want people to know that it's out there. And just because I tell his doctors that he takes it, and some of them have not agreed with me,
Mhm.
but I am the parent, and I know like what I think will work best. And ultimately, it's my call. So, I'm not putting him in any danger. He's not on crazy dosages. You got to do your research because CBD does interact with some pharmaceuticals because of their formulas. So I had to
Mhm.
learn some of that, which go talk to your pharmacist, not a doctor. Pharmacist is a wealth of knowledge, honestly. So I have a local pharmacist who I chat with to make sure all that's okay. And knock on wood, here we are. And he used to have up to 11 or 12 seizures a day.
A day.
Any.
Oh, wow. I got like goosebumps because I think it was Charlotte's Web that was the first strain that was for epilepsy, and they've had such good case study specifically with epilepsy and seizures, and so many parents can say the same thing as you, and I think it's just like astonishing and just like so grateful, really, that they found a plant that has these natural healing bodies to do this, and it is great. And you're right, it is up to the parent. And I went through the same thing. Jackson being actually given it before legalization here in Canada, his pediatrician kind of said to me like, well, you do what you, but I'm not endorsing this.
Right. That was
um
kind of the same response I got.
yeah, and like, well, I mean, it is, and that's fair. But he does follow it, so he's
Mhm.
interested in enough to know that this must be something. Because maybe Jackson's the guinea pig for the clinic. I don't know,
Well,
but
I got a lot of pushback because they just recently, in the last 2 years over here in America, I'm not sure if in Canada they did too, but they came up with a pharmaceutical called Epilox
okay.
that has the same properties as like CBD does, except it's a pharmaceutical. And
Hmm.
so his doctors were educated enough to know about that and push that when I'm like, I don't want another pharmaceutical. That's not what I'm going for here.
Yeah.
So it was kind of a nice conversation. I had a great conversation with them. They were understanding, but they kind of same thing. They're not endorsing it, but they're also not shutting it down either, which is nice.
That's interesting, and I would love to dive into that more, but I feel like it might get political.
Yeah, that's another rabbit
Just a
hole. We go
little
down
bit.
that rabbit hole next
Yeah,
time.
it's something when that's the push is the way of pharmaceuticals, and we know really just the side effects alone, let alone the addiction. I believe, and my mother said it because there's good days and bad days with our children. We all go through it. That some days he probably doesn't need it, and I said to her, we don't know what it's actually healing inside that we can't see on the outside. So maybe, behaviorally, he had a good day and he might
Mhm.
not have needed the CBD for his ADHD and his da 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 da. But that's what we don't see, still working inside of him. And so I don't feel like there's any kind of need for it all the time, but I
Mhm.
will always, it's like a vitamin in our home.
Yeah. Nope.
And we've got some vitamins coming out, don't we?
Yes, we do. We have 6 vitamins.
Yeah, 6 vitamins. We'll jump into that next time we talk because I think that we've got Cannabis Month coming up next month, and so a great time to kind of just share the news. Yeah, very exciting. Rachel's made me part American. Is he American?
My adopted Canadian.
Yeah, you're already there. You're already there. So that's great. I think that we'll be able to kind of share how those may or may not work for some families, depending on what you're using it for. But they are absolutely safe, and that's one thing we can absolutely contest. So that's good enough for me. This is awesome. How do people find you if they want to
They
get
can
in
find
touch?
me. So I have my website, notyouraveragemama.wordpress.com, which we can put all these little linky links
Yes, we
in
will.
for everybody to get. But you can find me on my website, Facebook, Instagram. I even have a TikTok that I have a little bit of fun with. It's just as, we gotta
Oh
have.
yes, you're cooking the quesadilla.
Yes, the quesadilla, they got so much. So yeah, I have to perfect my editing skills to do some more of those because they are a lot of fun to do.
Yeah,
They are so much fun, and I get a lot of joy out of them.
yeah,
So yeah, I do all kinds of stuff. So find
yeah.
me
And you can ask Rachel, right at
there. Yes,
Healing
please do. I
and Parents.
enjoy
Yeah. Helping Parents. She's there. You can put an anonymous question in if you want, or you can tell the world who you are just by first name. Love to know where you are too, because we're talking to people from everywhere. And it's really awesome that we get this point of view from across the pond, us Canadians. Although I think that mostly we got Americans following Hip Line is great. And I'm so grateful for you. I think that your story is something that strengthens a lot of us and knows that we are, like you say, not alone. And this month especially, it's a dark month, March. Eh? It's just, was it
giving
over
that
yet?
heaviness. It's that in between, that transition month, because I don't know, like here in Virginia we've had a couple of really nice days, but
Yeah,
then they're calling for like snow tomorrow. So
exactly.
it's almost like we got out of the darkness and we're kind of taking a left turn back. But
Yeah, it's a bipolar month.
yes,
It's
it's a bipolar month, but
bipolar month, and no spring break.
no spring break.
No spring break. We guess we're doing ours in April this year. So I guess people are itching. It's been 1 year, and we're on that cusp. So definitely reach out to Rachel or go see our mental health blog. I've been kind of following analytics recently, which is my nerdy pastime. But I see that people are going and taking a look at some of the therapy tools that Rachel and I found, which is fun because there's so many creative ways to fix our minds and get out of that dark place. So, yeah, you're awesome. Thank you for
Oh,
all that you
thank
do.
you.
And we'll talk to you probably tomorrow. I will, but everybody else, this is Rachel, and it's been a pleasure.
Yes, thank you.